Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Ladies and gentlemen, my question for you today is, are you being a drifter? Right? So my name is Michael Music, and I understand, it's 4th of July weekend, right? We're celebrating this holiday, and we're celebrating, our country's independence. But the question is, right, are you actually celebrating the fact that you have the privilege of independent thought? What's happening, Rob? So that's the conversation today, right? Are you being a drifter? Now, what I'm going to be talking about comes from this book called Outwitting the Devil. And understand this, that Napoleon Hill, who was the author of Think and Grow Rich, he wrote this book in 1938, and he didn't publish it until he actually passed away, right? It was published in 2011 because of the criticism that he was scared to face from this book. But it's the truth. And I'm going to be sharing it with you today because this is going to change everything for you. So you got to understand, right? We're talking about drifting. And are you actually, using your ability to think for yourself? I thought there was a point in my life where I thought that everyone thought, right? But here's what my mentor says. He says that 2% of the population think. 3% think they think, and the other 95% would rather die than think. And I'm thinking, what are you talking about? Everyone thinks. No, there's a difference between mental activity and thinking. So understand, right? When you are having thoughts of the enemy, and it could be fear and doubt, when you are having negative thoughts, you got to understand those aren't even your own thoughts. And follow me here, right? When I'm talking about, having negative thoughts, right? I'm talking about the devil. And this is not a joke, right? Here's how the devil works, right? A lot of people think that the devil is some beast with a spiked tongue and a forked tail. No, the devil is the negative portion of the atom, right? It doesn't have like a physical body. Okay? Understand that the devil is negative energy. And the only way that he can control the minds, right? The only way that he can control your mind is if you are a drifter or if you start drifting on any subject, right? Now, please don't shoot the messenger, right? This is the truth and it has to be said. So the question is, okay, what is a drifter, right? How do you know if you are a drifter? And this is what Napoleon Hill says in the book Outwitting the Devil. He says that the first thing that you will notice about a drifter is that he lacks a definite major purpose in life, right? He doesn't know what he wants. He has no end goal, and therefore he's just drifting. Okay, so you can go up, like literally go up to most people at your work and be like, yo, why are you going to work every day? And they'll tell you, what do you mean? I'm going to work because everyone else here goes to work, right? They don't understand why they go to work. They're just like, everyone else is doing it, so I just decided to do it. But they're not thinking. They don't have an end goal. They're going to work and they're just drifting through life because they don't have a definite chief aim. Right? You'll understand, right? If you want to spot a drifter, think about this, right? A drifter is someone who overeats, right? They're a little bit on the heavy side, and they don't like to exercise. A drifter is someone who has a lot of opinions of their own, but none of them are really his or her own thoughts, right? They're thoughts of other people. A drifter doesn't use his own mind and lets what other people are saying actually influence their thoughts, right? There's a lot of stuff going out there on social media, in the news, that is a bunch of junk and garbage. And yet people are leaving their minds wide open when they're scrolling on Instagram and they're letting the media influence them, right? A lot of us will agree, I'm not even going to say the specific examples, right? I'm sure you can think of 5 off the top of your head, but a lot of the shit that you see is absolute garbage. And you're like, man, I totally disagree with that. But then the thing is, they're so good at it because this is how the devil works, right? He's a really good salesman, right? They're going to repeat this stupid statement over and over and over again. and it's going to get into your mind, and all of a sudden you're going to question your own beliefs, right? Some of your thoughts may not even be your own. So I hope I'm making sense here. Let's continue on, right? Even the school system was designed to make us drift, right? You know what it does? You know what high school did? It fills your mind with a bunch of junk and unimportant facts so that you can't think definitely for yourself. It will give you all these dates, all this BS that you need to memorize, or else it'll call you stupid. And that's how it's going to induce you to drift, right? There's no definite purpose with school. It does not teach you how to truly think for yourself. And I'm going to do a whole live episode on the school system and independent thought, but let me stay here, right? Now the question is, okay, how do you stop drifting? Right? How do you become a non-drifter, right? Who is a non-drifter? First of all, let's explain like what a non-drifter is, right? A non-drifter is someone who knows what they want and typically gets it. You'll notice that the people with the highest wealth in the world are typically non-drifters, but the people that are fit, that take care of themselves, that are disciplined, are typically non-drifters. And, you know, it took a lot, like even me, I'm not going to say I'm not a full drift or I'm not a non-drifter, right? There's been times where I procrastinate, right? If you procrastinate on a decision, you are technically drifting, right? So understand, right? Even me, like if I'm procrastinating on something, that means I'm drifting and I'm not actually thinking, right? If there is fear and doubt in your mind, you can bet yourself that you left your mind wide open and that fear and doubt crept in. And that's the problem with drifting. So this is a war, right? We are at war versus the worst enemy of all. And you know, I might end up getting a lot of backlash for this, right? The enemy is going to attack me with a tsunami of drifters, but I have to be ready for it. And I need, like, my literal purpose in life is to gather my troops so that we can go to war with the enemy against fear and doubt. Because this is not a laughing matter. This is serious. This is your life that we're talking about. And we are not just going to drift to the end of our time and just, you know, go away, right? A lot of people think that hell is something that happens after you pass away. No, a lot of people are living in a state of fear and doubt and living in a literal hell at this very moment because they were drifting. They let their minds wide open and they let the devil into their minds. They let this negative energy into their minds. And it is a shame, but you know, we gotta put a lock on our mind and prepare for the bad parts of success, because this is not an easy task, right? There's going to be so many influences outside of you trying to take your attention and take the fact that you can independently think for yourself. And it doesn't want you to do that, right? The devil does not want you to be able to think for yourself. That is when it loses power over you. And it will attack you with your worst, whatever it is that you want most, right? It will bribe you, right? And it's everywhere, right? One thing that I talked about when I was talking about Think and Grow Rich is protecting yourself from negative influences. And, you know, one of the worst things that I think somebody can do is leave the news on. I'm not joking about this, right? The news. Think about the news. The news is so negative. All it does is spew negative junk. Oh, you know, 8 people were murdered in Philadelphia. There was a deadly hit and run. But it is just spewing out junk. And there's no reason to watch the news, right? Even you'll hear people say, well, I just want to stay in the loop. Why would I ever want to stay in the loop with poor people, right? If I'm staying in the loop, I'm going to stay in the loop with the people that have the riches, that people are wealthy, that people that actually think for themselves. I want to stay in the loop with my mastermind. So, but the thing is, they're going to do everything. It's going to throw everything at you so that you leave your mind wide open and you let negative thoughts in, and they're not even going to be your own thoughts. That's the worst part about it, right? I used to think that the devil was a joke, right? He was a fraud, but he is such a good salesman. And you know what? It is what it is, right? Someone has to say the truth, and whether you agree or not, right? I highly suggest that you get this book right here. It's called Outwitting the Devil, and that you actually start learning to independently think for yourself, because this is not a game. This is your life that we're talking about. This is the fact that you have the ability. Everyone has the equal ability of independent thought. The only problem is, are we actually using it? Are we actually thinking for ourselves? Whew. So that is the topic today. I'm going to continue talking about this book and the ideas shared in it throughout the rest of the week. I hope that this was of value to you, and stay tuned every day, Monday through Friday. For right now, I'm going to be going live at 10:30 a.m. and expect to hear more from me. I'll see you all tomorrow.